The story starts with some mysterious men riding a dark van on a cold night. They stop at their destination and slowly come out of the van with some heavy luggage, maintaining the utmost silence so that no one can hear them. Well, it may look like it, but they are not actually planning to rob a bank or something. On the other hand, a nervous girl named Yeonhee is standing outside a convenience store. She needs to give herself a pep talk, enter the store, and buy some sanitary pads. She is nervous because of the slow cashier and the drunk customer behind her, and she always remains in a sense of hurry. The cashier tries telling her to buy more pads since they are on sale right now, but she nervously screams that it is her last day and then runs away in embarrassment. Outside, her face is turning red because of the cold, when suddenly, she finds some mysterious people tailing her with a lot of luggage. She gets terrified of the vibe they are giving and begins picking up her pace because she is delulu that they are following her on purpose. She hears them talking about how they may be in the news the very next day. Yeonhee is even more nervous now. But then one of the men finds it difficult to carry the luggage bag and complains that Matilda is too heavy. Now there is no doubt in Yeonhee's mind that these people are killers, and she freaks out. She slips over a banana peel at that very moment, and the sanitary pad in her bag gets flung behind her while she falls to the ground. The pad falls in front of the mystery men, and one of them picks it up and starts approaching Yeonhee. She just wishes that they don't come towards her because she is sure that they will kill her. She wonders what to do, but there isn't anything she can do to change her fate now. Suddenly, she finds herself surrounded by the men, who ask her if she is all right. Seeing them all wearing masks, she is certain they are serial killers, so she gets up with a start and then runs away screaming. The men are all confused because they were just planning to help her out. Well, Yeonhee simply runs without stopping and rushes inside her house, ignoring her family, who are eating bananas like they have still not evolved from being monkeys. She rushes into her room and lies on the bed, panting and cooling herself down. Suddenly, her brother barges in, imitating Bruce Lee. He tells the startled Yeonhee that some good-looking guys are moving in next door. That causes her to smile to herself, and when the dollar store Bruce Lee asks her what is wrong, she just tells him to get lost and shoots her Nerf gun at him till he runs. After that, she lays on the bed, dreaming about the handsome guys pursuing her. She is lost in Delulu land for a long time until her mom comes to her room and slaps her awake. She tells Yeonhee that she must follow her rules if she is living in her home, otherwise she must pay rent. Yeonhee lashes back, asking what kind of parents ask their children to pay rent. Her mom says that she does because she's a real estate agent, and then tells her to shut up and come to breakfast. Once she leaves, Yeonhee falls on the bed again and thinks about the mysterious men from last night. She wants to see if they really are all over the net, so she searches for any murder that happened last night but finds nothing. She continues browsing the articles and finds that Suho, from the famous boy band EXO, has been injured, so his international tour has been canceled. Just then, Yeonhee's mom yells at her to come downstairs to eat, and she has to obey. As they eat, mom tells Yeonhee about the guys moving in next door, and she begins smiling to herself and turning red as she enters the Delulu world. Both her mom and her brother ask her what she is thinking, and she tries to feign that it is nothing. Yeonhee's mom then hands her the key card to the house next door and tells her to give it to the new neighbors when they arrive. Despite her Delulu dreams, Yeonhee is nervous to meet them in person, so she asks her mom to do it. Her mom claims that she is busy with work, while the dollar store's Bruce Lee is busy studying. Since Yeonhee is the only jobless loser in this house, she has to run this errand. Her mom tells her not to go out looking so shabby, and Yeonhee complains that she doesn't need to. Well, she was lying through her teeth because she tries on various outfits and rehearses how she will charm their new neighbors. Suddenly, she sees the van parked in front of their house and excitedly goes to give them the key card. However, to her utter disappointment, she finds two guys who look below average. With her hopes in the mud, Yeonhee returns to her room and wonders when the spring of young love will finally arrive in her life. She is 23 and has never had a boyfriend. She went on some dates to see if there was anyone she could find chemistry with, but it turned out that they were all not good looking enough for her, and Yeonhee didn't even think about giving them a second chance. It is not that he didn't meet handsome guys, but there is one serious problem with her. In high school, Yeonhee met up with a cute guy she had a crush on. He had come to meet her in private, just like she had asked. But when he asked her why she called him, she fell silent. She couldn't tell him that she liked him, and she couldn't even give him the gift. The boy didn't understand anything, even as the silent Yeonhee turned red, and he left her because she was wasting his time. That's our girl's biggest flaw. She turns red and freezes whenever she is with a boy she likes. This is the real reason she has no hope for a love life. She knows that even if she fell in love with a cute guy next door, she would turn into a red rock and wouldn't even be able to talk to him. Later, she is watching some boy band members play volleyball with each other while stuffing popcorn in her mouth. She's enjoying the show, but her brother Bruce Light is there to disturb her. practicing his senseless karate moves on a cloth hanger. Yeonhee tells him to shut up, and then Bruce Light looks outside the window to see their real new neighbors, who he thinks look quite good. He asks Yeonhee if she is sure that the new neighbors are ugly looking, and she affirms. He takes a look at the TV program, and the boys there seem similar to the two he just saw. He tells Yeonhee this, and she simply calls him towards herself, and then smacks his head for comparing two ugly guys with her favorite boy band, EXO. They exchange some playful kung fu banter when suddenly Yeonhee's mom comes there with a parcel. She tells Yeonhee to deliver it to the neighbors. Yeonhee freaks out, but her mom tells her to hurry because she cooked some rice cakes for them, and they won't taste good if they get cold. Yeonhee complains, asking if she really has to go there. But then her mom contacts someone offering to give them her daughter's room for rent, so she has no choice but to obey. She reaches the house next door and enters it, only to find that there is no one inside. She keeps asking if someone is here as she explores the house. Since there is no one around, she just puts the rice cakes on the table. They smell delicious, and Yeonhee can't help but open the box and try one. The rice cake gets stuck in her throat because she was eating in a hurry, so Yeonhee opens the fridge and starts drinking water directly from a bottle. Just then, the handsome boys who have just moved in arrive there and ask Yeonhee who she is. She is so shocked to see them because they are the members of her favorite boy band, EXO. There are 4 members there: Deo, Baekhyun, Sehun, and Chan, who is their leader. Out of shock, Yeonhee spits the water in their leader's face. Everyone has different reactions to this, but Yeonhee is horrified and delighted all at once. EXO moved into the house next to her, and she just spit water on their leader's face. The last night, the boys moved into the house, which was actually the home of Chan's grandpa, but it was recently renovated by his parents. They explore the house and pick their rooms, but then find that there are no beds here. So they just slept on the floor and on the couch. While everyone slept, the leader Chan approached his late grandpa's rocking chair to relive his memories. The next morning, 2 of them woke up early, carried their stuff inside, and then woke the remaining 2 guys. Suddenly, they smelled something really delicious, and lured by the scent, they headed towards the kitchen, where they found Yeonhee eating the rice cakes. They hid behind the wall to keep an eye on her silently. The moment she opened their fridge and started drinking water, the boys were ready to confront her, and they walked towards her. That ended up with Yeonhee spitting on Chan's face. And now all the boys laugh at this while she turns red again. She can't even apologize or tell them that her mom sent the rice cakes. So while the boys are busy asking Chan if he is fine, Yeonhee runs away. She goes directly to the living room and confronts her brother, squeezing his cheeks and asking if he knows who moved next door. He remarks that she said they were a bunch of ugly guys, and she panics and runs back to her room. She covers herself in a blanket and stares at the pictures of EXO to make sure that they are the ones that have moved in next door. She is too embarrassed by what she has done, so she calls her friend for emotional support. Her stylish friend tells Yeonhee to tell her quickly what is bothering her because she is busy. Yeonhee tells her that the boy band EXO moved next door to her, and she just laughs at her, asking if she has finally lost her mind because of her mother's bad treatment. However, when Yeonhee reminds her that she told her earlier about the handsome guys who were moving in next door, she starts believing her. She immediately calls a cab and rushes to Yeonhee's place. Meanwhile, Yeonhee doesn't understand why Gaeun cut the call so quickly. She tries searching for something under the bed and finally finds it. It is a pair of toy binoculars, and Yeonhee keeps watching over the EXO house using it. Suddenly, someone enters her room, and she hides the binoculars while panicking. Luckily, it is just Gaeun, who is high on happiness after hearing that she can see EXO here. She gives Yeonhee some fancy binoculars as a gift, saying that this is to celebrate 10 years of their friendship. Yeonhee shyly refuses to accept such a costly gift, and then Gaeun says that she must have done something great in her past life to get EXO as her neighbor. She sits next to her and tells her that she shouldn't let this God-given opportunity go to waste. Gaeun insists Yeonhee use the fancy binoculars to get used to the faces of the EXO boys, because she will probably start blushing and can talk to them. Well, Yeonhee pulls out her toy binoculars to surprise her friend and tell her that she was already staring at her new neighbors. After that, Gaeun asks her if she met EXO and how her experience was. Yeonhee can't just tell her that she spit water on Chan's face, so she tells Gaeun to just see for herself. They begin staring at the boys through the binoculars and praise them with all their hearts. They compare them to aliens because humans can't be so beautiful, in their opinion, and then say that they are masterpieces of God. As Yeonhee is busy praising their beauty, the memory of her spitting on Chan's face returns to haunt her. She falls to the ground and begins screaming that she messed it up. Well, that doesn't stop her from eating some snacks and returning to spy on the boys. She believes that by watching them like this, she can overcome the mistakes she has made. Suddenly, Yeonhee's mom enters the room, and both the girls hide their binoculars. Yeonhee's mom first compares the room to a junkyard and then asks Gi-eun why she is still here because her parents must be worried about her. Gi-eun decides to head home after telling Yeonhee to call her later. Yeonhee then tells her mom to get out of her room because she's going to clean it now. But her mom wants to know what she did recently because her face is turning red again. Yeonhee is embarrassed now, but she tries to pretend that she did nothing. She tells her mom that it is her fault that she gave birth to her with these features. On that note, she wants to ask her another question, but her mom tells her to ask any questions she has to her teachers because that would be better for her. Yeonhee ignores her taunt and then asks her why she is giving so many things to their new neighbors. Yeonhee asks her mom if she knows who they are because the old man who lived in the house before them was quite close to her, and she won't allow just anyone to enter the house. Yeonhee's mom gets flustered on hearing this and says that she doesn't know who the boys are because they didn't write anything about their jobs in the rent document. She begins lashing out at Yeonhee while claiming that she knows nothing and then leaves, but not before telling her to clean her room. Well, Yeonhee thinks that if even her mom doesn't know much about the neighbors, it means she is the only one who has recognized their true identity. She begins spying on them happily again and finds that they are on a video call with their friend. They have some fun talking to each other, and after that, Sehun suddenly spots Yeonhee spying on them. He alerts his friend Baek, and both of them decide to have fun with Yeonhee while Dio is busy playing games. So they climb on top of each other and create a fake intimate scene that sends Yeonhee's heart racing. She can't see them getting closer any further and hides behind her chair. Well, her curiosity quickly compels her to watch them some more, and she sees that the two boys are busy making out. Yeonhee freaks out on seeing this, but then Chan comes there, and even Dio notices her. Dio tells his friends to stop messing around and closes the curtains as he waves at Yeonhee. She realizes that they found her out, but she still keeps looking at them through her binoculars. In the meantime, Chan joins his friends, and they ask him if he brought them to this house for a special reason. He tells them that he did, and then opens the window to stare at Yeonhee, saying that he lost something precious here, and he is here to take it back. Yeonhee sees him staring at her, and that sight is enough to send a chill to her bones. At night, as she tries to sleep, she finds that Chan has snuck into her room. He asks her if she had fun stalking them, and she screams, not realizing it was just a dream. She keeps throwing hands and struggling in her sleep, and her mom and brother watch the entire drama. Her mom wants to know what is wrong with her, and her brother believes that she must have had an intense experience last night. Meanwhile, the EXO boys are having a hearty breakfast. They are curious about Yeonhee and wonder if she will tell the entire town that they are staying here. Chan tells them that she is not the type to carelessly blab about things to others, especially after what she did yesterday. His friends ask him if he knows the girl, and he pretends that he doesn't. His friends don't buy it, but they begin talking about other things, including the housekeeper who is going to come to clean their house today. It turns out that the house help is Yeonhee, whose mom tells her to clean the EXO house and even do their laundry. Yeonhee complains and throws a tantrum, saying that she doesn't want to do so, but her mom tells her that she will be paid a lot for that. Money is not of importance to her because she is afraid of the boys who have seen her spying on them. Yeonhee falls on the couch, saying that she will not go to the neighbor's house in any case. Her mom simply tells her to look at the rate of rent currently going on and tells Yeonhee that if she cannot pay that much each month, she should simply do as she says. Yeonhee gives up and asks her mom what she can do to not go to their neighbor's house, and her mom tells her to get new parents if she wants that. She laughs at her joke and then hands Yeonhee the key card. She tells her not to talk to the boys and to pretend they are invisible. She also instructs her not to go to the rightmost room on the second floor. Later, Yeonhee meets up with Gaeun, who has brought EXO goods with her. She tells her friend that she has the chance to wear EXO gloves and use the EXO mop to clear the house of EXO members. She compares it to a religious moment, but Yeonhee tells her that she can't face them because she was caught spying. Gaeun tells her to wipe away her sins by cleaning their house properly, and that somehow convinces her. On the other hand, Yeonhee's brother Bruce Light is taking his cloth hanger somewhere to practice when he suddenly runs into Sehun on the road. To act cool before him, he starts showing off his martial arts there and then. Sehun is confused, but he still approaches Bruce Light to ask him if he knows of any coffee shops nearby. He doesn't know about a coffee shop, but he tells Sehun that if he wants some freshly ground coffee, he can serve him. Bruce Light leads him to his tent, where he grinds coffee on an old stone grinder and then squeezes it through a cloth to make the drip coffee his guest wanted. Sehun is taken aback by this process, but as he drinks the coffee, he finds that it tastes out of this world. He immediately hugs Bruce Light, saying that they should become friends. Meanwhile, Yeonhee is in the EXO house, admiring its grandeur. She starts blushing thinking about the boys, but then shakes those thoughts off her head as she gets to work. She is wearing the EXO goodies that Gaeun brought for her, and using them, she is determined to clean their house and her sins. She cleans the house and takes the chance to touch the coffee mugs that the EXO boys used with her lips, sniffing their bed sheets. She keeps cleaning the house while living her fantasies, and soon she comes in front of the room that her mom forbade her to enter. Yeonhee reaches out for the door but then says that she should not enter and respect their privacy. She then does the laundry and hangs the clothes outside to dry. She has even washed their masks, but looking at the all-black masks, Yeonhee is reminded of the night she met with those mysterious men. She realizes that they are none other than EXO, but then she worries about the girl named Matilda they were talking about. Next, she enters a place where their music instruments are kept and finds that Matilda is actually the name of their guitar. Just then, Yeonhee spots a cockroach, and she grabs a file on the table to swat it. She follows the cockroach as it tries to run, throwing the entire room into chaos. She finally manages to swat it down, but just then, Chan returns there to find the music instruments on the ground and the cleaning lady on the bed. He asks Yeonhee what she is doing in his room, and she falls silent as she tries to explain things. Chan tells her to get out, but Yeonhee has frozen. He angrily yells at her to get out, and she runs out of the house crying. She falls to her knees just as she exits the house, but the rest of the boys have noticed her. Dio comes outside to comfort her and returns her apron, which has his photo on it. He asks what got her into trouble with Chan, and she turns red as she tells him that she wasn't trying to do anything. She falls silent as her face reddens some more, which Dio finds really cute. So he suddenly reaches out to her and touches her face, and Yeonhee can't comprehend what is happening. Chan comes downstairs to return Yeonhee's phone that she left behind and witnesses this scene. He seems to be hurt and jealous of seeing Yeonhee get close to his friends. He suddenly remembers how things were going perfectly for him until last year. He and his band were enjoying great success, but after one show, things suddenly changed. It happened when he dropped a precious pendant by mistake and crushed it under the wheel of his chair. Just after this ill omen, he received news that his grandpa had died. This was a great shock for him because his grandpa was the one who made him fall in love with music. He had the greatest influence on his life and gave him the lucky pendant, saying that it would repel any bad luck that tried to approach him. Chan asked him if he would not become unlucky after losing the magic pendant, and his grandpa told him that he had another one lying around. It turned out that his grandpa was not lying to him. After the pendant broke, misfortune kept on finding Chan. The songs of his band leaked before release, and they faced other issues too. One of their key members suffered a severe injury due to an accident Chan was responsible for during dance rehearsals, and the group was put on hiatus. That is why Chan came to his grandpa's house to find the second lucky pendant, and to spend some time in peace. Well, Yeonhee shattered his desire for peace by turning his room into a mess. Chan is sitting in his room at night, blaming Yeonhee for his misfortunes, and suddenly he receives a call on her phone that he didn't get to return. Yeonhee was the one calling it from her mother's phone, and she panics, wondering where she lost her phone. She tries recalling the events of the day, and finally realizes that she left her phone on the table when she went to kill the cockroach. She panics, hoping that Chan doesn't have her phone. Well, too bad for her. He has her phone and it doesn't even have a lock to keep him out. He is scrolling through her cute and silly photos when he suddenly gets a text from Gaeun, who wants to know what happened after Yeonhee went to EXO's house as a maid. Obviously, she doesn't know she's not talking to Yeonhee and keeps messaging to inquire about any developments. Chan tells her to respect people's privacy, but Gaeun says that they are already binocular buddies, so these words don't suit them. She keeps talking about embarrassing stuff, so Chan asks her to tell the owner of the phone to get it from his house. So Gaeun pays Yeonhee a visit to inform her of the situation, and she screams that she doesn't want to go. She asks Gaeun to accompany her for moral support, but she refuses, and she refuses to spoil her reputation by going in front of EXO with the girl whom they must think of as crazy. Yeonhee spots their van going out, so C thinks that it is her chance to sneak into the house and retire her phone. She goes to Chan's room, looks around to find her phone, and finally locates it on the bed. She is about to leave with it when, suddenly, Chan comes out of the bathroom wearing only a bathing robe. He spots Yeonhee leaving after sneaking into his room again and asks how dare she. She tries to hide from him as her face turns red. She tries to leave, but Chan grabs her hand and asks her if she doesn't know who he is. The next morning, Yeonhee had a high fever because of her last night's adventures. Her mom lectures her for keeping her window open all night when it is still January, and then tells her to go to her room to rest. On the other hand, the EXO boys are gathered in a room, and Chan is angrily staring at Yeonhee's window. He expects her to come out any moment to spy on them, but his friends say that she might have been too scared of him and fallen ill. Even Dio is staring at her window, but he pretends that nothing is wrong. Sehun and Baek are busy poking fun at them, and Sehun suggests that if they want to meet Yeonhee, he can call her. He tells everyone that he is friends with Yeonhee's brother, Bruce Light, so he can just ask him. Sehun goes to meet Bruce Light in his tent and learns that Yeonhee is quite ill. He also learns that she thinks that the EXO members are ugly people and warns him not to try and get close to his sister. Sehun is confused by this, but reveals all this information to his friends. He thinks that Yeonhee is so seriously ill that she thinks that they are ugly people. They conclude that Yeonhee has caught a cold, and Dio thinks that Chan is the reason. Well, he is not the only reason. As Yeonhee lies in bed, her heart beats at over 150 beats per minute as she recalls how gently Dio touched her. She also recalls the close encounter with Chan, who asked her if she knew who he was. Yeonhee told him his name, but he was disappointed upon hearing her answer, and she is still confused about what he wanted to hear. Anyway, Chan is trying to prepare some honey tea to help Yeonhee's cold, but he gives up halfway because it is too tough for him. On the other hand, Dio is also traveling somewhere, and he recalls his interaction with Yeonhee. When he saw her red cheeks, he thought that she was ill, but she just told him that she was embarrassed. She then started crying, saying that her face had not turned so red in the past 3 years. She apologized to him because she couldn't help it, and then blew her nose on the apron, right next to the part where Dio's face was printed. As he thinks about it now, he can only laugh. Later, Bruce Light comes to Yeonhee's room with a delivery that came for her. She tells him to leave her alone, but when he tells her that the delivery is from the apron guy, Yeonhee suddenly gets up. She reads the note that is from Dio, who tells her to drink this honey and ginger tea to feel better, and asks her to give her name in return. Yeonhee is happy, and she starts blushing again. The next day, she wakes up in perfect health. She immediately begins thinking about the mistakes she has made while dealing with EXO, especially concerning Chan. She decides to make up for it and enters the house to clean it. She is cleaning Chan's room when he suddenly comes there. He closes the door and asks Yeonhee why she didn't tell him that she was here to clean the room last time and not to stalk him. She doesn't reply, and he asks her if she is back here because she needs money. He appears fierce, so Yeonhee decides not to say anything and leaves the room. However, Chan holds her hand and apologizes to her for being rude that day because he thought she was a stalker. He tells her that she can keep working here and he won't bother her again. Chan leaves the room with that, and Yeonhee finally speaks up, fully aware that he is outside the door. She says that she returned because she was sorry too. She says that she should not have touched their things so carelessly and not made a mess of the room. She wants to make amends now, and that is why she is here. Yeonhee is about to tell Chan her name when he suddenly says that he knows it. He comes inside, taking Yeonhee's name clearly, and she can't believe it. However, Chan says that he is a diligent person who knows the names of all his employees. Yeonhee doesn't really think that is true. Chan then asks her what she felt when he took her name, and a lot of things come up in her mind, but she says that she was honored. Chan just scoffs at this because this was not the answer he was expecting, and he tells her to go back now. He tells her that he accepts her apology, so she can keep working here. Later, Yeonhee is in her room, and she gets a text from Chan to come to work at 3 in the afternoon. He also tells her to be ready for the initiation ceremony, and Yeonhee wonders what is going to happen. She imagines that the EXO members will take her brutal interview, and that makes her feel super lucky. Outside, some fans are staring at the EXO house because they have heard rumors about them moving in here. They spot Bruce Light leaving his house, and they immediately swarm him, asking if EXO really lives here. He is left speechless because he doesn't even know what they are talking about, and the girls go their way. However, after that, Bruce Light quickly goes to his tent and turns on his laptop to search for the EXO the girls mentioned earlier. He makes a few spelling mistakes before doing the right thing, and he is shocked to find the videos of the people next door online. On the other hand, Yeonhee is rehearsing for her interview, using pillows with the faces of the EXO members as her panel. She realizes that it is almost time for the interview and goes outside, but Bruce Light is there to block her way. She tells him to get away and let her go to work, but he stops her, calling her an idiot. He tells her that he knows the truth about their new neighbors, and Yeonhee tells him that it doesn't matter that they are EXOs because they are still humans. However, Bruce Light is under the impression that they are superhumans because he saw them sending flames from their hands in their videos. This guy only has one brain cell, and even that doesn't work half the time. He tells Yeonhee that the people next door may be ugly, but they are superhumans, so she should not go there. Yeonhee tells her stupid brother that she is as superhuman as them, so she can handle them herself. He is confused, but still puts his helmet on her head and tells her to come back alive. Yeonhee wears the helmet to the interview, and while others laugh at her, she finds it oddly calming because it reduces the eye contact she can have with them. They ask her to sit down first and then begin asking her questions about herself. Yeonhee somehow passes the interview and begins working. She cleans the living room and then tries clicking a picture of Dio sleeping. However, she remembers that he asked her not to click pictures because he wants to be comfortable at home, so she doesn't. She follows the instructions of others too. Sehun had asked her to pay special attention to his clothes. Chan had told her that the work hours would be flexible and she would have to move according to their mood and schedule. And Baek told her that he hates bugs, so she must catch them all. She works all day following their instructions, and at night, she smiles while telling Gaeun about it. Gaeun wants to know more, but Yeonhee tells her that she signed an NDA and can't do that. Gaeun tries to pressure her emotionally, and Yeonhee folds under nominal pressure, but she asks her not to speak about anything she tells her online. The next day, Chan is working hard to perfect a new song with Sehun, who tells him to take it easy because the group going on a hiatus is not because his grandpa's lucky pendant broke. On the other hand, Yeonhee is returning from a shopping errand, and her mom gives her another task. She complains that she can't do it and drops her phone accidentally. As she bends to pick it up, she finds a person in front of her, who turns out to be the same high school crush Cho she could not propose to in the past. As usual, Yeonhee turns red while facing him, and he asks her how she has been. She can't tell him anything because of embarrassment, and Cho realizes that she is the same old. He tells her that it is uncomfortable for others when she doesn't maintain eye contact with them, and she apologizes. She begins tearing up with that, and Cho asks her what is wrong. Suddenly, he feels an arm around his shoulder and finds Chan next to him. Not only him, but all 4 boys are here, and they ask the man how dare he make their maid cry. He struggles to say anything, but Yeonhee clears up the misunderstanding by saying that he is an old friend, and she was just happy to see him. Cho immediately bows to everyone and leaves after the situation is cleared. Later, Yeonhee explains this to Gaeun in detail. Gaeun remembers Cho as Yeonhee's first love, but she calls him a dark part of her dull past. However, Gaeun thinks that this situation could rekindle their romance. She thinks that Yeonhee used to like Cho, but he didn't think too much of her. However, after knowing that the EXO members protect her, he will think highly of her and even get jealous. Then he will try to compete with the other guys to get her attention and win her love. Gaeun bets her pinky finger on it, and Yeonhee just laughs even though she has also got her hopes high now. She keeps on waiting for Cho to text or call her even when she is at work, but he doesn't. On the other hand, Sehun goes to meet Bruce Light. He learned from Yeonhee that her brother is only in high school, and he just looks older than he is. That is why Sehun is not happy that he hid the fact. Bruce Light turns around and says that he also hid his supernatural powers from him. Sehun thinks that he is a lost cause, but he is addicted to the coffee he makes, and that is why he still wants to stay friends with him. Bruce Light tells him that he will make coffee for him, but only if he can promise not to use his supernatural powers when he is with him. Sehun stretches his hand out for a handshake, but Bruce Light just touches fingers with him. With that, Sehun asks him about Yeonhee and Cho. He tells that to Chan later, who keeps on staring at Yeonhee, who is cleaning his room. She asks him if he needs anything, but he rudely tells her to clean better. He pesters her, asking if she can't clean because she's distracted by the thoughts of her first love. Later, Yeonhee enters the room where Dio and Baek are practicing their lines for a show. Baek tells Yeonhee that she entered at the right time because Dio was in need of someone to read the lines of the female character. He gives the task to Yeonhee, who is stumped when she reads the romantic scenes. She reads her dialogues even worse than a second grader, but Dio is giving it his all. Baek is frustrated and tells Yeonhee to put some effort into it and act her parts properly according to the instructions given on the sides of the dialogue. He tells them to start from the last line, and Dio once again says the romantic dialogue to Yeonhee with such intensity that she can't stop staring at him speechlessly. However, her dialogue delivery is still a mess, even though she imagines herself as the lead heroine of a drama against Dio. Well, she quickly snaps out of it as she feels her cheeks getting red. She takes her leave, saying that she is not feeling well, and throws the book at Baek. After she is gone, Baek mimics how she said that she was not feeling well, and she looked like a proper actress in that scene, while Dio just smiles and says that they should leave her alone. Both of them smile as they realize that Yeonhee is too innocent and has gotten too much into character. Outside, Yeonhee is panicking because she knows that she was found out thanks to her face when she suddenly hears her phone ringing. She knows that it must be Cho, so she goes looking for her phone, which is in Chan's hand. She tries to take it, but Chan refuses to give it to her. Yeonhee accidentally screams at him and he flinches before they resume their activities again. Chan simply asks her if Cho is really her first love, and she begins recalling the day she was about to propose to him in high school. However, she cannot say anything because she is overwhelmed. Later, both Dio and Chan keep thinking about Yeonhee. Meanwhile, she is eating chips and watching the old videos of EXO, where Chan was not grumpy like he is now. She complains about the way his nature has changed when she gets a message from Chan asking her to come to work. Yeonhee doesn't want to go because it is still too early in the morning, but she was already told that the hours of work will be irregular. So she goes to clean their house and is constantly bombarded by their requests. After working hard all day, her body starts to ache, and she complains about this to Gaeun, who is still focused on the matter with Cho. She tells Yeonhee not to call him back and to wait for him to call again. She tells her to play hard to get it and believe that every boy loves her. She holds a poster of the EXO members in front of her and asks her to imagine that they are all in love with her too. Yeonhee blushes as she dismisses this, but Gaeun keeps on telling her to believe that it is true and then act like it is no big deal. Yeonhee gets lost in thought, but her brother hears it all, and he tells it to his friend Sehun. He says that Yeonhee loves one of the guys in their group, and Sehun is confused about which one of them it could be. Bruce Light guarantees that it is not him because his sister has terrible taste in men, and she won't go for someone as perfect as him. Sehun goes through a roller coaster of emotions in this one conversation and ends up being flattered. Later, he tells his friends that Yeonhee likes one of them, and everyone is curious about which one of them it is. Sehun takes his time to point his finger at all of them, and then says that she likes someone from EXO who is not even here. Everyone is disappointed, but Chan and Dio are especially saddened. Just then, they hear the door open and wonder if Yeonhee came, but it is not her. Instead, it is Kai, another one of the EXO members. The next day, more members of EXO join up for a promotional shoot. Kai has always been regarded as the more masculine one among the group, arousing Chan's jealousy. They keep getting their makeup done while playing the guitar and humming tunes, and Baek tells everyone about Yeonhee, addressing her as their secret member. Kai asks him if she is pretty, and Baek says that he doesn't know about that, but she is really good at cleaning. The other members have also heard about her and they want to meet her. Just then, Chan comes to the room, and one member asks him if Yeonhee is pretty. Chan freezes at that question like an antelope in headlights. The boys, who have not yet met Yeonhee, say that they want to see her. They tell him to call her over, as he is the only one with her number, but Chan is hesitant. Baek asks him if he is nervous about bringing her hair, and he says that he is not. The other boys tell him to call Yeonhee then, and pressured by their demands, he decides to call her. Soon Yeonhee comes there, following the address Chan sent her. As soon as she enters the studio, she is overwhelmed by the brilliance of the EXO members in front of her. The new members greet her, saying that they have heard a lot about her. They say that she is cute, and they want to be her friends. Yeonhee is so astonished that she doesn't even turn red. She just stands there like a stone as the boys return to the shoot. However, as she sees Chan's photo shoot, she begins to smile and turn red. As she is intently staring at him, Kai comes there and pokes her arm. He asks her if she is Yeonhee, and she is overwhelmed. He tells her that it is quite chaotic in here and asks her to follow him outside. Chan notices it, and all his attention goes towards Yeonhee, causing difficulty in the photo shoot. Outside the room, Kai and Yeonhee sit together, and he treats her quite gently, which makes Chan insecure. Soon, the director calls everyone for a group shoot, and Kai heads inside. Just then, Dio comes there and checks up on Yeonhee. He learns that Chan called her here to deliver a file to him, and he decides to deliver it to him on her behalf. He also heads inside for the shoot and tells her to wait here for him. Yeonhee wants to see the shoot too, but the staff closes the door so that the photo shoot can go on without any disturbance. Later at night, Chan comes to his room feeling quite upset and empty. Yesterday, when Sehun said that Yeonhee likes an EXO member, but not one of them, he thought that Yeonhee's crush must be Kai. Today he saw Kai get close to Yeonhee, and that made him jealous. He falls on the bed but has trouble sleeping. But then he sees a dream in which he is a kid once again, and his grandpa is standing beside his bed, asking how he could lose the precious thing twice. The young Chan apologizes for dropping the pendant, but his grandpa tells him to find the pendant and something more important than that. Chan is curious, but grandpa tells him to think about the more important thing himself, because it is quite close to him. This dream makes him wake up, and he stays on his bed pondering the situation. The next day, as Chan is brewing some tea, he finds Kai sitting with Yeonhee and helping her clean plates. He appears to be too friendly, much to Yeonhee's delight and Chan's jealousy. Kai seems to notice his friend's jealousy, so he takes Yeonhee along with him to the fridge, where he has stored an imported hand cream for her. Yeonhee is overjoyed and thanks Kai, calling him by his name. That suddenly reminds the jealous Chan of his grandpa's words about losing something precious twice. Later, he digs under his grandpa's favorite tree, hoping that he must have hidden the second lucky pendant here. He can't find it, and he grows increasingly desperate. He digs under other trees as well in his desperation, but finds nothing even there. He collapses on the ground, wondering where his grandpa hid it. The next morning, he wakes up with a cold after staying up all night. Meanwhile, Yeonhee is working outside when Kai spots her, and he makes her sit on the breakfast table with the rest of them. Dio is also a bit jealous of how close Kai seems to Yeonhee. She remarks that one person is missing on the table, and learns that Chan is down with a cold and is resting in his room right now. Keeping that conversation on another side, Kai asks Yeonhee if she really likes him the most, as he has heard. She tells him that it's not really, and Sehun tells her that she doesn't need to hide it. He claims that he has heard about it all. Yeonhee doesn't know what he has heard, but apparently, despite her saying that she has no special feelings for Kai, he doesn't stop being friendly with her, and Dio gets even more jealous. He tells Kai to rest because he must be still suffering from jet lag, and he gets up to do so. Before going, he tells Dio to try his best, even though it won't be an easy fight. On the other hand, Chan is having a feverish dream in which he sees his grandpa taking care of him again. He finds himself a younger version again, and his grandpa tells him that he did too much digging. Chan tells him that he is tired and asks him to tell him where the pendant is. Grandpa decides to give him a hint, and it is the color red. Chan doesn't understand what he means, even as he sees his grandpa's cheeks turning red, just like Yeonhee. Well, Yeonhee is the one who is taking care of him, but he is too sick to notice it. At night, Kai prepares to leave for his house, and Baek comes outside to escort him. He tells him to stay some more, but he replies that they are going to meet soon anyway. Kai then asks Baek to keep him posted on what happens with Yeonhee and the two boys because that is the best entertainment he has had in months. Earlier, Kai had gone to meet Yeonhee in private. He asked her if she is dumb generally, or only when it comes to men because he has heard that she has never had a boyfriend. That belief was strengthened when he found that Yeonhee had no idea about what was going on in the house. He was almost about to give her a hint, but then decided that it was more fun the other way around. Meanwhile, Yeonhee is taking care of Chan, and she finds that he is still feverish. Just then, Dio comes to the room, and she tells him to be quiet because they should let Chan rest a bit more. She leaves to get him a towel, and Dio realizes that he is not the only one Yeonhee is close to. The next morning, Sehun is walking on the road in his own rhythm when suddenly he spots Bruce Light. He hugs him, and they start talking when the stalker girls from before notice them. They recognize Sehun and start jumping like monkeys. They chase after him, and Sehun panics as he and Bruce Light run away. A neither fast nor furious chase ensues, and the two boys hide behind a car, and the girls cannot find them. Sehun is too tired to run anymore, but Bruce Light doesn't even know why they were running. He asks if something bad will happen if they get caught, and Sehun says that he will have to move houses if he is found out. Bruce Light doesn't want that, so he takes Sehun's cap and tells him that he will distract the girls, and he should try to distract the girls and escape at that time. Sehun can only watch as Bruce Light sacrifices himself and gets chased by the girls to save his friend. On the other hand, Yeonhee is cleaning in the kitchen when Dio suddenly appears behind her. She freaks out as she turns around and drops a plate, breaking it. Both of them kneel down to pick up the broken pieces, and Yeonhee ends up cutting her fingers. Dio puts some first aid on her injury and then tells her to keep her hands in the air as punishment. He then laughs, saying that it is just to stop bleeding quickly, and she also starts laughing. Dio then asks Yeonhee if he is the most distant person from her in the house, and she says that it is not true. She claims that she's the most comfortable around him. She keeps putting her hands down, and Dio tells her to keep them up. He then asks her whom she likes the most, and she falls silent. Dio asks her if he is the one, and Yeonhee can't say anything in response. Just then, Chan comes downstairs, and Yeonhee puts her hands down. Now Dio tries to cover up the moment they were having by acting like he was just practicing his lines with her and asking Yeonhee to say her lines. She speaks like a robot once again, and then forgets her lines too, clearing Chan's doubts a little. However, he is still jealous and tells Yeonhee that if she came to work here, she should just work. She's a bit taken aback, but leaves to do her work nonetheless. Dio still tries to make excuses to Chan, saying that he can't get into character when he rehearses with a guy, but he just tells him to get some rest because he was busy shooting the entire night. On the other hand, Yeonhee is dreaming about how Dio made her his rehearsal partner suddenly. She is too dumb to notice that he is into her, and he thinks that he just wants to be his permanent practice partner. However, that is enough to keep her happy. Meanwhile, Chan is strumming a song, recalling a moment from his childhood. He found a girl crying in the park and learned that a bully had taken her doll. He told her to stop crying and promised to get her doll back from the bully. He brought the doll back and gave it to her, and the next day the girl came to give him a drawing as a thank you gift. Chan was happy to receive it, and the girl was happy too, so her face turned red, and it turns out that she was none other than Yeonhee. Chan still has the drawing, and he remembers Yeonhee, but he doesn't know why she does not remember him. He tried giving her not-so-clear hints, but she didn't recognize them. With that, he begins staring at a picture of him and his grandpa that he doesn't remember where it was clicked. On the other hand, Yeonhee is alone with Dio in a room. She has prepared her dialogues well today and wonders when he will start rehearsing. He also wants to talk to her, so he approaches her, but Yeonhee acts out her part and tells him not to come closer. Dio is taken aback, not aware that Yeonhee was just trying to act. Suddenly, someone calls her just then, so she leaves him alone. It was Chan who called her to complain about the dirt. He tells her that he has been allergic to dust since he was 6 and keeps on dropping more hints about him being 6. Yeonhee doesn't understand anything, so she just gets irritated. At last, she promises to do better the next time, and Chan is disappointed. Yeonhee tries leaving, but he stops her and asks if she is really that dense. Later, Yeonhee constantly kept thinking about how both Kai and Chan called her dense. Even Guyan thinks that she is denser than concrete because she gets what Chan meant to say. However, she is also wrong in this case, because she thinks that Chan wanted Yeonhee to join her fan club. On the other hand, Sehun is with Bruce Light, and he picks up a book about martial arts. Inside, he finds a childhood photo with Bruce, Yeonhee, and Chan. Sehun recognizes him and borrows that picture. He shows it to Dio later, who recognizes Yeonhee before Chan. On the other hand, Chan is having tension about his failure to come up with a song. He tries talking to Baek, but he tells him to worry about Suho, who is not doing well in the hospital right now. Chan remembers that incident well and thinks that it is his fault. He wants to find the second lucky pendant desperately now. On the other hand, Sehun and Dio are talking about Chan in the picture and wonder what the story is between him and Yeonhee. Just then, Chan comes down to drink water and they stare at him continuously. On the other hand, Yeonhee is having a weird dream where she is running on Chan's grandpa's palm, and he tells her that he will let her go if she answers his question correctly. He asks her what is red, and she says apple, much to his disappointment. He says that this one is as clueless as the other one, and then Yeonhee falls from his palm and wakes up. Meanwhile, Chan is looking for the lucky pendant in the house, but he doesn't find it. He is tired and puts his coat on a hanger, which turns out to be the switch for a hidden door. The hidden door opens, and Chan enters it to find various strange items belonging to his grandpa. On the other hand, Yeonhee is cleaning the house when she suddenly finds her childhood picture. She wonders why it is here and thinks that it must be her brother's doing, not realizing that Chan is in the picture with her. She then notices Chan's coat on the hanger and the secret door, so she takes the coat and ventures into the secret room, closing the door behind her. Chan hears that, and to hide from him, Yeonhee puts the laundry basket over her head, but that's useless. He finds her, but he doesn't help her get up. He acts aloof and distant, but then Yeonhee suddenly realizes that he looks familiar. She talks about Chan's grandpa and tells him about her childhood friend who used to live here, not yet realizing that she is talking to him. She tells him that her friend gave her a jump rope to use as an excuse to tell people why her cheeks were red. Chan says that he must be a smart 6-year-old, and Yeonhee asks how he knows that he was 6. She dismisses it by reasoning that the idea sounds childish enough. He is disappointed and decides to leave the room, but finds out that the door is locked. He furiously asks Yeonhee if she closed it, and she tells him that it closed itself. He spots his coat that Yeonhee has brought with her, and that makes all his hopes about her having a brain vanish. He puts out his hand to ask her for her phone, but she first gives him her hand and then tells him that she forgot to bring it. He is disappointed, and now the only option they have is to keep yelling to get their friend's attention, but they are too busy playing video games to hear them. Night comes soon, and Yeonhee and Chan are suffering in the cold room. He pulls her close and drapes her with his coat, saying that it is an emergency. They sit awkwardly for a few minutes, but then Chan decides that it is enough, and he gets up, calling Yeonhee Dumbo. He is about to tell her his identity, but falls silent to give her some more hints. He asks her if she doesn't think he knows her name. He tells her that he gave her a major clue about being 6 years old. Well, even that is too little for Yeonhee's single brain cell to conclude anything. She asks for one more hint, and Chan tells her that he is her childhood friend and the grandson of this house's owner. Yeonhee can't believe his words. On the other hand, Her mother goes to check up on her in her room, but she finds that Yeonhee is not there. She tries calling her, but finds that her phone is also there. The next morning, Chan's friends also look for him and find that his phone is on the bed too, and he is missing. Meanwhile, Chan and Yeonhee are sleeping. She has her head on his shoulder and he throws her off to wake her. He teases her for her red face and then for not recognizing him. They are quite friendly with each other and keep teasing each other. Chan asks Yeonhee if she likes Kai, and she says that she doesn't, making him happy. On the other side, Gyun goes to Yeonhee's mom to help her find Yeonhee and tells her about the new neighbors. And Chan's friends also figure out that Chan was quite upset about Suho being hurt when they last saw him. Suddenly, Bruce Light contacts Sehun about Yeonhee being missing, and Dio thinks that their disappearances are related. Baek says that they must have eloped together as lovers. This upsets Dio, and he throws a tantrum before leaving. On the other hand, Bruce Light is walking on the streets with a missing poster for Yeonhee, but it just contains a poorly drawn sketch. Well, Yeonhee and Chan are still huddled up, and she worries that they won't be found out soon. Chan says that it was a good thing they got locked here. Otherwise, she wouldn't have recognized him. He says that he was disappointed that she couldn't recognize him instantly, and she says that it is because he changed too much. She apologizes to him, and they start laughing. Suddenly, they spot some movement and get up, but then the lamp above them blows. Yeonhee falls from the shock, and her pendant spills out. Chan is shocked to see it because it is the second lucky pendant, and he asks her how she has it. Turns out, Bruce Light had snuck inside the EXO house looking for his sister, and there he saw the love of his life, a cloth hanger. He began practicing martial arts with it, which caused the movement that got them on their feet and blew up the bulb. Bruce Light heard their voice, and then he found the switch, unlocking the secret door and freeing Yeonhee and Chan. Later, Yeonhee gets a lecture from her mom, and Chan gets a lecture from his friends, but both of them tell the others that they should have found them sooner. But Dio is jealous that Chan spent the night with Yeonhee. On the other hand, Yeonhee is watching the old photo and beating herself up for not recognizing Chan, who used to be her best friend. However, she is confused about why he took the pendant from her. The next day, Yeonhee tells Gaeun about Chan being her childhood friend, and she finds it beyond her wildest imagination. Yeonhee is already troubled by this, but then she gets a text from Chan telling her to get to work. She is frustrated but goes to work and enters Dio's room to clean it. He sees her looking troubled, so he calls her in for a cup of coffee, and she tells him how Chan turned out to be her childhood friend. She only keeps talking about him and how he was so mean to her despite knowing the truth. Dio is a bit jealous, but then Yeonhee tells him that she and Chan promised to marry each other when they grew up. She starts laughing and blushing after saying that. Dio just tells her that since she is friends with Chan, she should be friends with him too, and she agrees. Later, as Yeonhee is cleaning, Chan comes to startle her, and they banter again. He then shows her the pendant, and she says that his grandpa gave it to her because she cried every day after he left. He is pleased to hear that and teases her, asking if she missed him. She says that his grandpa told her that as long as she had this pendant, Chan would come looking for it. He asks her to let him have it for the time being because he really needs it. Just then, she gets a call from Cho and tries telling him that they will talk later, but Chan snatches the phone from her hand and turns it into a video call. Dio comes out of his room to witness all this. He and Yeonhee fight for the phone, and then Chan tells Cho that he is Yeonhee's boyfriend and orders him not to disturb his girlfriend again. Cho is left speechless, and so is Yeonhee. Chan then tells her that this guy was not her first love because she asked him out much before him. He tells her that he is her first love, so they should go on a date tomorrow. Dio can't control himself after hearing this, so he walks towards them, making the excuse that he was coming towards the fridge. However, a bigger problem arrives in his life when he gets a call telling him that Suho is missing from the hospital. He is shocked but doesn't reveal the news before Yeonhee, so Chan sends her home. He asks Dio what the matter is, but he just angrily stares at him. Later, he tells everyone that Suho is missing and they can't even contact him. The other members also get on a conference call, wondering what happened to Suho. It turns out that last night, he heard his group's assistants talking to the doctor about keeping something a secret from Suho, and he overheard that. He thought that it was something negative, so he left the hospital in rage, thinking that everything was over for him. Now he sits on a riverbank, overwhelmed by his emotions. On the other hand, Yeonhee is thinking about her date with Chan, and she wonders if she should text him to decide on a time and spot. She is too nervous to do that, but just then Gaeun barges into her room. She inquires if something happened with Yeonhee, and Yeonhee asks her what it means when a man asks her out but doesn't specify details. Gaeun thinks that Cho must have asked her out on a date, Yeonhee tells her that Cho wanted the number of another girl, and that is why he called her. She accuses Gayun of steering her in the wrong direction, and then tells her to answer her original question. Gayun says that if the boy hasn't told her a spot and time, she must be proactive and decide it for herself. On the other hand, it turns out that Suho contacted Dio to talk about his situation before he went missing, but Dio starts whining about the problems in his love life, so Suho simply tells him all the best and ends the call. He then goes to the dance hall where he gets injured. Meanwhile, his friends are searching for him, and Chan leaves his phone in the van when Yeonhee texts him to meet her in their childhood playground for a date. Everyone is worried when they can't find him, and then Chan says that it is all his fault. Dio also says that Suho called him, but he kept talking about his situation without realizing that he was also suffering. The day changes and Chan suddenly gets an idea of where Suho can be, so he rushes ahead to find him. It turns out Suho is in the dance hall, trying to dance despite his injured leg. He keeps braving the pain and dancing, but then Chan finds him. On the other hand, Yeonhee is ready for the date, and she waits for Chan at the playground, unaware that he is far away. Suho tells Chan that he heard from the doctor that his leg won't heal in time, so the tour may be delayed because of him. However, he doesn't want that, so he wants to leave the group until his leg heals, so that everyone can do their job. Chan tells him not to say that, and just then, the rest of his friends also arrive there. They hug Suho, and then FaceTime with the rest of their group as well. Meanwhile, Yeonhee is getting tired of waiting in the cold. She texts Chan, asking if he is coming or not, but he is asleep in the van. However, Dio is awake, and he spots Yeonhee in the playground as his van passes by it. He realizes that she is waiting for Chan, so he decides to be the bigger man and reminds him about his date. Chan runs to the playground to see her and apologizes for coming late before he tells her that he likes her, and they start enjoying their date. On the other hand, Dio is left alone after doing the good deed. Soon Chan and the boys leave on the tour, and he promises Yeonhee to return in 6 months. After 6 months, when she goes to clean the house, she finds a box placed on the table containing rice cakes. She starts eating it, and then someone suddenly offers her a water bottle. Yeonhee looks ahead and is shocked to find all the EXO members there. That's the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like and a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.